Hey everybody, it's Tracy from ST's Market. Not a lot going on today. I've just kind of done some house cleaning while the hubby is at work. I promised him that I would do some lasagna from scratch. So, of course, I don't do my noodles from scratch. I'm not that Betty Crocker. But anyway, this is a pound of Italian sausage here. And then this is a pound of ground chuck. I'm just going to brown it, mix it together as it's browning, and then I will pick my video back up. Okay, we're back at it again. I went ahead and cut everything down to simmer because the meat has gotten brown. And I just wanted to show you something that I learned on somebody's Facebook years ago. But, you know, all the grease that you're left with, either you can take it to the sink and try to pour it out or what have you. But I'm going to try to set this up to where you can see what I'm doing because I need both hands. Let's see. Without dumping it in putting the camera in it. All right, so basically you're going to scoot all your meat to the side. And some people probably think, oh, you know, I can just take a spoon over there and dip it all out. But I've got the little styrofoam piece that the meat came in. I've got it set to the side. Take some paper towel. Just kind of run it around until it's pretty saturated. Like this one is. Scoop it up. And then just put it over in that. And then take some more paper towel and repeat. Probably going to take another round of paper towel. Gotta tear some more. That should get it. It's getting pretty dry. I think I'll do one more round. Probably because this was not like, I don't think this was like ground chuck. It might have been ground beef. And of course, we're going to get some of that grease out of the Italian sausage too. So, see, it's pretty dry. Still got a little bit coming down, but just kind of smear it around. I've just got to where I started doing this back last year on this. I think I get a lot more of the grease out. Anyway, that's it on that. So let me pause so I can get this over in the trash. Okay. So here's my ingredients. I'm kind of cleaning out the refrigerator too as I'm making this. I have these two left over from, you know, times past when I've either done spaghetti or whatnot. I've got the eggs as my binding agent for all of my cheeses. Again, I bought new bags of the mozzarella and the Parmesan, but I had Parmesan and this left over from something several weeks ago. So I'm going to go ahead and use these in my mixture, my cheese mixture. And then of course I've got my noodles. I just love these. It's the XO brand from Target. I think you can get them pretty much anywhere. I just love those. That's how I'm organizing my pantry now. Still need a few things, but anyway, those are my ingredients. But I'm gonna get my 2 jars, go back over to the stove, and dump that in with the meat mixture. Okay, I've dumped all of the actual spaghetti sauce in there with a little bit of water so it's, you know, not uber thick. And then I had just a little bit left of the marinara sauce. I'm going to use this in the bottom of my pan because you're supposed to create just a little thin layer of sauce in the bottom of your pan to help your noodles not stick. Sure, my mind just went blank. So I'm going to pause and try to set this up to where you can see everything as I'm working on it. Okay, back at it. I'm going to go ahead and take my 2 eggs. I'm just going to go ahead and bust them in here and then whip them up. Again, the eggs is just your binding agent to help get your cheeses to where they all stick together real good. The first couple of times I made this several years ago, I actually followed a recipe and it just seemed like it took me forever to get everything put together. So, I mean, it's all pretty basic. So now I don't even follow a recipe anymore. I don't measure anything. Now, you know, I've been married soon to be 35 years. In the beginning, I measured everything. But I would say after 10 years, 15 years, I might do a recipe off of Pinterest or out of a cookbook once by the guidelines, by the recipes. After that, if it's pretty basic, then I don't measure anything because you can't really mess up lasagna. Alright, so just got the eggs beat real good. So that's down in there. And I am going to dump what little bit of Parmesan is in this bag, which I would say it's probably about a half a cup. So I'm going to dump that in there. And like I said, this is helping me because I'm cleaning out my refrigerator by using some of these things that's been open in there for a while. And the Italian 6 cheese blend, I would say probably about a cup and a half is what's left in that. And you just can't, in my opinion, go wrong on cheeses in your lasagna. I love a good cheesy lasagna. So I'm going to open up the bag that I purchased today of the Parmesan and the mozzarella. I'm going to go ahead and add in some mozzarella first. And again, I don't measure, I just dump. This was a 2-cup bag, and I probably did a cup and a half because I already have some of the other cheeses in there. And I had, basically it's like 2 cups of each cheese. The Parmesan, the mozzarella, and then the ricotta. And I had already added about a half a cup of Parmesan a while ago out of a bag that I already had open. So I'm not going to add a whole lot of this. Probably about a cup. Because it says there was a cup and a half in this. And I would say there's probably already, there's still maybe a cup left. So I probably added half a cup. But so that's all of that. Gonna set it to the side because I like to take some of the mozzarella and Parmesan cheese that's not in this mixture and sprinkle on the top. So Now I'm gonna do my ricotta. So that's probably a half a cup. And another half cup. Another half cup. And another half cup. So about 2 cups. And again, after you've made this before, you can kind of tell just by what the cheese mixture looks like if you need to add another kind of cheese. So basically what we're doing now is we're just incorporating all the cheeses together along with the egg that was in the bottom of this to kind of get it all together, bind it up to where when we get ready to put it on top of our noodles as we're layering, then we're good to go. You don't want it real dry. So if your mixture looks dry, then that means you've got too much cheese and you probably need to add another egg, because the egg's also going to add some moisture to your mixture. And I usually do 3 layers of the noodles. It goes that little thin layer of sauce, and then your layer of meat, noodles, and then your layer of cheese. So I try to do 3, but if it looks like I'm running shy on my cheese, then I'll just do 2. Again, this is, and a lot of it is just going to depend on, you know, how big of a family you're feeding too. Now that first recipe that I done, geez, we had enough left over. We could have ate it every night for a week, but of course we just got burned out on it. But anyway, I think I've got my mixture pretty good on the first go around. So as you can see, it's not dry. It looks real moist. So that's what I'm going for. So let me make some room here. Kind of clean up my mess just a little bit. Put the ricotta up because I'm not going to need it anymore. And I'm going to bring over my pan that has the meat in it. Trying to position everything to where you can see it. So I'm going to dump a little bit of that sauce that I still had left over. Just going to put a little bit in the bottom. Might actually just try to use it all. That way I don't have this jar to go back in the refrigerator. Cooking a good solid supper and cleaning out my refrigerator all at the same time. All right, so once you get that in there, you know, just kind of smear it around to where it's just a good little layer there. So now since that's in there, I'm gonna take our noodles and we're just gonna start layering. I like to use the disposable pans, less cleanup. So once you get 3 noodles down like that, then for the end down here where you've got some space as my noodles are rolling, just kind of take one and break just a little bit off at the end. I just kind of set those pieces aside in case I need to fill in a gap. And you're just going to place this at the very end. So that's what it looks like. So now we've got our thin layer. Get my little camera. I left my tripod out in the shop. So we've got our thin layer of sauce. We've got our noodles. So now we're going to do the sauce. Let me get my chili scooper out. Scoop it close. And you're just going to do a layer of that. Just a pretty good little layer. And like I said, it just depends on how many layers you're going to try to do. I'm going to try to say 3 layers of noodles. And what you want is the sauce to end at the top. So now I'm going to do little dollops of the cheese mixture that I can just spread around. And I'm sure I do things a lot different than everybody else. It's like I've said out in the shop before. Differences is what makes the world go around. Just kind of smear your cheese around as you're getting it in the pan. It doesn't have to be just like picture perfect. All right. And that's how it should look. And now we're ready for another layer of noodles. So I'm going to pause, get my final layers done, and I'll come right back. Okay, so I've done all my layering, and the last layer on the top should be your meat layer. So just kind of think it out before you start layering it. And excuse me, if you've watched my videos, you know I've been sick with bronchitis and flu. So the cough is definitely not leaving me very, very swiftly, but I have asthma, so that makes it harder. But anyway, my meat layer is the last layer. And like I said earlier, I like to layer it here on the top with just some leftover of my mozzarella and my Parmesan, just because we love cheese. So no rhyme or reason, just do a good sprinkling. And I'm probably going to use what was left in this bag because there wasn't a lot left. And as you can see, this large, and it's not one of the largest ones, but it's a pretty big one. It's a, I'm going to say a 9 by 13 and probably, I don't know, 3 inches deep, I guess. But it's full. So we'll eat on it tonight and maybe tomorrow after church. And we might have it either Monday night or Tuesday night. And then after that, whatever's left, I will probably just freeze in a airtight container. Because definitely don't want to throw it away. Because homemade lasagna like this, it's not cheap to make. So we definitely don't want to throw it away. So anyway, I've added enough cheese, I think. So I'll put just that little sliver of Parmesan cheese back on my refrigerator. And at least the oldest cheese got used today. So that will be ready. Here at where I live, it's 2:05. And the hubby usually gets off when he has to work Saturdays. He usually gets off around anywhere between 3 and 3:30. So probably what I'll do when he texts me and says that he's off work is I will go ahead and slide that in the oven, because that needs to cook for about an hour on 375. And just make sure when you're doing your layering that you get the noodles covered real good. And that was one of the things that I liked about this recipe, is you don't have to pre-cook your noodles. To me, that's just double work. And, you know, until this year, you know, I was working, so, you know, anything that made my life simple in the kitchen was definitely a plus. So just make sure when you're putting your meat mixture over your noodles that you're getting your noodles covered real good, because that way they don't get hard on you from the heat. But I'm going to cover it with aluminum foil, and then I will cook it with the aluminum foil on it. So right now I'm just going to cover it and slide it into the refrigerator. Oh, because it does have cheese and all that kind of stuff, and I don't want that stuff at room temperature, and it's got eggs in it. So anyway, put aluminum foil on it. When you're ready to cook it, leave the aluminum foil on, and then cook it 375 for about an hour. And probably about the last 5 minutes, take the aluminum foil off and turn your oven to broil to where it kind of browns the cheese that's on the top. It'll already be melted, but I like for my cheese like that to be browned. So anyway, that is my lasagna from ST's Kitchen. Instead of the market, it's ST's Kitchen today. So I hope everybody has a great Saturday, and if you feel up to it, maybe grab you some stuff and do you some lasagna next week. So hope everybody has a blessed day, but most of all, be a blessing. Bye-bye.